Making sense of reality, we also attempt to make sense of the course of our actions. And when the present disturbs us, we become afraid that the future might resemble the present. We understand the need to take action, to make the difference, to make the change. And this is where the importance of vision becomes crucial. This is where we must question what is vision and why is it important? Now, vision is a future image. It's a lasting sight that we as rational beings are able to create a future scenario, a simulation that we can create by thought that surpasses immediate reality, that surpasses our present moment. As a conscious and rational being, so this is important part because because we are not instinctive and reductively reactive. We are conscious, we are rational, we are aware. And this is important. Now, let's talk about the formation of vision. But before that, I also want to point out that because vision is the capacity of a conscious mind, a conscious being, it is also an exercise of our freedom, an exercise of our free will. Because, again, we are free to act outside of our instincts. We're not limited by them. We're not reductively reactive. Um, um, and now there are different brain regions that are responsible for what you might call conscientiousness. And important region is prefrontal cortex. The abbreviation for that will be PFC, right? And then we have also hippocampus. I think I skipped here. Oh, but okay, amygdala, PPC, and also other regions. A little bit in neuroscience, but basically those brain regions, what they do, they contribute to integration of data, of your personal data that that your brain collects, right? And not only brain, your whole bodily system is contributing to it. Your sensations, your senses, your emotions, and this is important because some might question: do we discover vision, or do we just always maybe know it? Well, probably this is an easy question to answer. Because if you figured out that you don't know your vision now, well, now you know that maybe I need to discover it. But also maybe you have to develop it rather. So, um, Now, vision formation is quite of a process, and a cognitive one, uh, that is okay, that has these steps that are categorized by me, but uh, you can say partially that, well, vision is discovered because when you work, and by you, I don't uh, mean only conscious you. I also mean the brain processes um, that you have outside of your uh, conscientiousness. And so so vision formation includes um, the processing of your data, um, and this is the sensory data, the emotional data. This is the work. Uh, this is data that is kind of gathered in your memories, right? So PFS kind of gathers your long term, takes your long term data, uh, and in order to make sense of the future, because you see, you make sense of the future based on the past experiences. So your brain starts running a simulation. Uh, but the thing is with vision formation is that the data that is available to you, objectively speaking, is highly limited and reductive. So this is what you need to understand about your vision as you build it, as you develop it. The data that is available to you is highly reductive, highly limited. Because in order for PFS to run this mental simulation, because vision is a mental future image, right? And so to run this mental simulation, you need past experiences, you need your emotions, you need your sensations, you need your reasoning, right? And your prefrontal cortex combines that to make sense of the future. It's also integrates your uh, your past experiences with your future expectations and predictions, and so what it means is that your future predictions and expectations is highly dependent on your experiences in the past, right? And now this is a common sense, but what it basically means is that you are limited by your past experiences and sensations. Um, and now this is how you play, how mental rehearsal is played in your mind. Uh, and even for the present moments, when you encounter something, you recall past experiences to make sense of the present experiences. and similarly to the future. Because you're basically not making guesses, which are luck based and unreasonable. You're making predictions with highly limited data when you develop a vision. And to make up this new data, you need past data, right? Um, but here is important point to mention: your sensory data as well as your memory data is limited. Your emotional data is not only limited, but highly, and all of it is highly subjective. Highly subjective and highly interpretation based. Okay, because it's not only what do you feel, it's also how do you make sense of what you feel. And different people make a different sense and different um, conclusions from their experiences. So all this data is highly subjective and highly limited, and you need to understand it. You play a mental rehearsal, or your PFS, prefrontal cortex, plays it to run a simulation and predict the future outcomes, or the future. You also can say future scenarios. Okay. Now, here is where it becomes important. Why do you want to form a sustaining vision, and why is it crucial? Vision is crucial not only because this is an exercise of your free will, but because it's helpful for your survival and for your thriving part. Okay, so um, your vision is your blueprint to actions, and of course your actions uh, influence your state. Okay, and as well as your future state. And for that, what your prefrontal cortex does after the mental rehearsal, after running these scenarios, it evaluates. So prefrontal cortex evaluates your future scenarios, and it does so to influence the reality. It does so to improve your scenarios, to adjust them, to adapt for what is suiting, and to maybe get rid of what is not suiting. So the evaluation part is a crucial part, because uh, it allows you for this sort of control, because uh, it allows, first you can identify, yeah, first you can identify the future, the possible outcome, the possible maybe even obstacles and problems. And then you can also, at least for the present, you also can measure, right? Um, and you, also the outcome and maybe the obstacles. And then you can work to align your actions with your vision. Uh, And this is the role of evaluation as well. So, evaluation allows you for the feedback to progress your vision, uh, to clarify it, to improve it, to upgrade it. And, well, guess what? If you don't have a suiting vision, if you don't have developed vision, then there is nothing to identify, there is nothing to measure, and there is nothing to evaluate, and there is nothing to adjust to. Uh, so maybe at least for the things we're looking for, right? And so vision is important. Uh, Vision is making sense of the future, uh, using all available data, personal data. Okay, and maybe developing your vision is just a better use of your cognitive rational functions, because, and this is important, when you adjust, there are a few things that happen. You compare again it with past experiences and lessons. You adjust it to your goals. I don't see. Okay, now you can see it. You adjust it to your goals. You adjust the future image with your reasoning, and of course with emotional responses, that, and all of it can be based on the outcomes that you receive from following your vision. But in other words, you're trying to fine tune your vision, your future image. But if you noticed again, your goals are highly subjective. And when I say highly subjective, I mean that you don't know, obviously, what is objectively best for you and others. And even when you do know something that would be better for you and for others, you don't necessarily choose to follow it, or put it as your goal to pursue. So you can fail. You can or your vision can fail due to, and the adjustment of your vision can fail due to many factors. Your past experiences are highly subjective. Your memories is actually, there are a lot of researchers on memory, and your memory is not that strong as you think you are. Um, so your memory is weak. Uh, your goals are highly subjective, and your reasoning can be weak as well, because it's also dependent on your knowledge, on your intelligence, and we can say on your wisdom, because maybe you have knowledge, you have intelligence, but you struggle to choose what is actually right, and you struggle to take into considerations not your limited self but others, or you struggle to choose what is rational and not what is appealing. So the reasoning part is also weak, right? And then emotional responses that also play a crucial role to the adjustment can be tricky. And the problem that arises, or the question that arises with your uh, vision development, is basically, if vision development is fine tuning of your vision or of your future image, um, how fine is your tune? How fine is actually my tune? Of course, I adjust my expectations and future scenarios, and as long as I fall, not necessarily, but hopefully I do that. If I learn my lessons, then I of course progressively adjust my uh, future image. But how how fine is fine enough? How good is good enough? Where do I adjust my future image wrongly? On what points do I fall short? And we already mentioned a lot of the points that include your limitations and limitations of your subjective experiences. So now we can draw the conclusion that you might think that your goal is to develop an appealing vision and to follow it with all your might. And while it is good, you have to understand now that your vision is so highly limited uh, and reductive that maybe you still don't want to follow reductively the image that you created for yourself. Because maybe instead of expanding you, um, it will limit you to your knowledge, to your past, and to your emotions, and to your reasoning capacities, right? Uh, and also to your subjective desires. So, what should I do instead if if building or developing a proper vision is not enough of accomplishment? If it's not enough, it doesn't mean it's not good, because it helps more than not having any vision. At least when you have some vision, you can adjust it, you can update it, and it can progress. But if you don't have a vision, you can't uh, work with your you can't work properly um, with your data, right? You don't integrate your data, you don't make a proper sense of your data, and you don't use it to evaluate and self reflect. You don't use it to control uh, and influence your life. Um, yeah, so if you don't have vision, there is nothing to identify, measure, and to evaluate, and there is not much things you that fall under your control. So you still want to have a vision, and you still want to have a well-developed vision. But if it's not enough, what should I do? You need your vision, and you need a well-developed vision, because you have to decide what is the most appealing and adventurous course of your actions. Now, we have talked about how your developed vision, and even well developed vision, and even the most perfectly developed vision, why would it necessarily fall short, and the reasons behind it? But let's expand on what could be a better alternative to or not a better alternative only, but an addition to the well-developed image, or the solution to limitations the well-developed vision can create for you. And for that, we have to discuss conscientiousness. Um, okay, so your conscious being and what constitutes your consciousness is awareness. So, a surprising thing is that uh, conscious beings have awareness of their internal sensations. They have awareness of sensations. How do I feel, right? How do I feel? What do I feel? And they also have, so this would be internal. And they also have external awareness. Um, Conscious beings also have self awareness. I am who I am. Who am I? Um, I do things. Now, important part of conscientiousness is reflecting. Okay, so reflecting is more than just being aware, because this already enters the category of metacognition, where you can think about your self thinking. You can reflect on your reflections. Um, if you have watched the movie Inception, where there is a different levels, a deeper and deeper level of the dreams, it's also kind of levels of your um, consciousness, right? Conscientiousness. So truly, you can go really deep. You can reflect about your reflections, and there is a theory on conscientiousness, and it's a theory for that sees um, consciousness as the information, like the data that your what that brain regions project to or share with other brain regions. Okay, and that's like why you have reflections of reflections and of reflections. So there is it's just one of theories, and I don't remember the name. But yes. So, and we also talked about your subjective experiences, your self narrative. You're not only seeing colors, you're seeing these colors how they are for you. What do they mean for you? And same goes with all the other sensations. Okay? And you also have a free will, intentions. It's a volitional control. And then you also have reasoning, right? Maybe we could link it to cause, to reflection on cause and effect, maybe, and also comprehension of it. It could also include the sense or comprehension of time, right? So okay, and as we understand, uh, okay, so what it means that your consciousness brings you on the next level of understanding. um, understanding that surpasses uh, your limitations, at least the limitations of immediate reality, in present moment. Um, However, the future image uh, you predict or you attempt predict will also always be limited, just as you are. Uh, and the goal is not to uh, limit your future. The goal is to maximize it in as much as you can and even can't. And what could you do for that? Um, Here is where the concept of ideal comes in. You need an ideal because you live by your ideals. Live by ideals, at least preferably or hopefully. Um, you don't actually want the death of God, right? And here is why. One reason for that is your limitation. And another reason is maximizing future exit, right? Or potential. Instead of limiting it, you want to be able to build in as much expanding vision as you could. So you would align your actions with that. So your actions could also be maximized to your vision. Um, so that's why you want to create something that goes higher above your uh, rational, well developed vision. Something like an ideal that allows you to strive to progressively greater decrease as you reach things. Uh, because because you don't because you don't want to change your vision constantly. And by change your vision, I don't mean to develop it or adjust it or to upgrade it. I mean completely shifting it to another course. Because vision also has a lot to do with a goal and with a purpose that is something like a final goal or final cause, we can call. But if you constantly shift your goal around because you are not sure, because maybe you expand on knowledge and also on experiences, you maybe expand on your emotional sensations, um, and if you constantly, and also your preferences, right? Your subjective narrative, qualia, right? So, but if you will constantly shift the direction, you will never, uh, it will, I wanted to say that you will never achieve something greater or great, but in reality, it's actually like you lose the opportunity um, on accumulation of efforts, right? You if you don't and this is a common sense, right? If you're not fall if you fall like here, so you need to go from the point A to B, right? If you know where to go and how to go, even if it's like the road is curved, you still can reach it much faster than if it's always shifts around, right? Because you don't want to be shifting around and never understand what's actually maximum of your potential, what actually you want to pursue, uh, etc. So ideal, that's why you need ideal. An ideal will never be or could never be detailed or specific enough and detailed. It will be something like universal law. Um, if you have read Kant, um, because because it's it's a maximum, it's the highest potential of thing that you could and could not imagine, that you just hope for. That's why ideal is always a step of faith. It's ideal is faith based. It requires space for you. Why? Because you need faith when you can't um, when your reasoning fail or your reasoning is not enough, your reasoning is limited, but you still want to expect and hope for the best and the highest potential. And even if you don't know if there is one or how it would look like, it still provides you the direction for yet the better way to go. So you need an ideal, because your ideal is an unlimited future image. It's the highest degree, the highest degree, the degree of divine, and you need it, because if you don't have it, it's already limitation for your capacities. So we need the degree of the divine, because that's how we can not limit ourselves with our visions, but progressively expand, progressively go to the greater and greater level as we reach it. And as we don't, always hope that there is a yet higher level to strive to and to go for. And we have to also pick our ideals, because ideal set the course to our actions, because ideal is what we elevate to the highest degree, and this what we have elevated to the highest degree, um, if we pursue it, uh, depending on what it is, could of course give different results and the consequences. So ideals could be different. But that's why you have to pick the right, the best ideal, the most maximizing, the most expanding one. This is one for the reason why you need to choose empathy over selfishness, because selfishness narrows down the limits and reduces, while empathy expands your capacity and your knowledge. Um, so you want to pick the most maximizing ideal, and not in a way which would allow you to do everything, but in a way that would be always in a degree of the highest, unimaginable highest divine, that is so high that you can approach only with faith, because it's too high for you even to reason it. Um, but it is sufficient for you to follow the course. So now going back to the vision, the best and sufficient vision is the vision that um, best aligns. Um, oh, I wrote it right, with your ideal. Let me take the. So the best vision is the one that most efficiently aligns with your ideal. Why? Because ideal is yet the higher degree. It is actually the highest degree, the most maximized degree. That's why we can call it God. It's the degree of, it's that high, that's divine. We could imagine, we, with our limitedness, comprehend on things of divine degree and capacities. We think of the concept of eternity, of um, omnipotence, and etc. So of maximally maximize potentials, and this is the degree of divine. So if ideal surpasses the vision, and the vision surpasses your goals of future, maybe future, just goals, and this and future goals surpass your present moment and present reality, then this is yet not the highest. There is something else you should yet set up rightly and correctly before you will go to the vision. Because some people, they think that, oh, what I need for my company, for myself, for my future, I need a sustainable vision, but they did not yet figure out their ideal. They did not yet um, decided on the sufficient uh, ideal, on the right God to follow, the most maximized degree, uh, the most maximized capacity. So they did not yet approach the root, the foundation. And this is, it's, well, comparing to this is a surface. Of course, it's lasting. Vision is a lasting sight. But this is internal. Eternal. And eternal surpasses lasting. And if you did not figure out on things that are eternal, How would you figure out on lasting things? Just cite what is lasting. And so there is a new goal to proceed to following and acquiring the right ideal, to approaching it in a good faith, because you limited, because there should be a course to which you're too limited to yet proceed with your rational capacity. And this is the course of the divine, maximized, uh, maximized degree of reality. Okay, this is the course that is your ideal sets up for you, and this is the video on vision. Uh, Hope it helped you to make sense of it, on what is lacking and on what is could yet be improved. Thank you for watching it, and see you in the next video.